Right now we're going to talk about maintenance for our Cannadri units. Some of the basic maintenance is making sure you're doing regular filter changes. We recommend every crop cycle or every kind of 60 days is ideal. During your crop turnover, it's also ideal to use coil cleaner and clean your coils. This will prolong the life of your units. So you do that at the same time you're swapping your filters.
I would really strongly recommend you don't use anything strong for your coil cleaning, right? If you're using that, consistently on the product, you're going to strip that coil over time, right? Okay. I mean, you can usually just get away with a pump sprayer and some warm water and a brush if you're getting some debris on there just to get it off, right? If you get into a position where you've let your filters go too long or you pulled your filters because they were plugged and now you've clogged the coil, there's some products, but reach out to us and we'll tell you what products to use, because there's a lot of products on the industry that are just, too strong, or they're used for the chemicals in them could strip the coil or even the epoxy. So
okay, and obviously not ideal when you're in a grow room.
Not in a grow room, no. Yeah.
So long and short, the maintenance is pretty basic. It's regular filter changes and it's, cleaning your coils with just warm kind of soapy water.
Another one that some guys miss is when they do clean their coil, that dirt or debris falls into the condensate pan. And that dirt debris that's in the pan can actually plug up your P-trap, right? Okay. So I always recommend to guys, when you clean the coil, you're doing your filter change, pull that trap out or have it accessible so you can remove it, and just make sure you just give it a dump, make sure there's no debris in it so that it's clear. So if that trap plugs up, then you're gonna get water, and obviously nobody wants water spilling over their plants if your units are hung above them, right?
Yeah, or one of the benefits that Cannadri has is we use a standard size filter that can be purchased at almost any hardware store, any HVAC supply store. You're never going to be in this case where you're going to have to source out a proprietary filter at a really overpriced number. Our filters can be found easily anywhere and at a price point that is very attainable, so there's never any excuse not to change your filter.
The funny thing, and the reason we went with that, is that we came to sites and we had guys that would pull their filters and there was no filters in the unit, and we'd ask why you pulled the filters, and like, well, I couldn't get any. As this became kind of a common thing, we thought, well, if people are complaining because they can't get their filters, let's make it the most generic filter size that you possibly can get. So like any Home Depot, any hardware store, we literally made the most common filter that majority of households have, right? I mean, you don't necessarily have to put the cheapest filter in, but go buy a good quality filter, but the size is the most common size. So you're gonna have something in there. So, I mean, you don't really have an excuse not to change the filter. The one other thing though, when customers are changing the filter and kind of doing an overview of the unit, just do a scan, right? Listen to the unit, right? Is the fan making a weird noise? Is there a weird vibration, right? I mean, a little bit of, detail and paying attention to the unit could lead to a big failure later that, you could completely avoid, right? So I do encourage people when they do change the filters, they might clean the coils, clean the trap out, have a look at the unit, right? Look at, is the display showing a fault? Some people don't even notice, right? Is there any faults? Is the coil temperature good? Is there any odd noises? Do you hear any vibration? Is the fan making any ticking noises, right? Things like that. Most common, just, you're already there looking at the unit, try to do your best to have an idea of what it's doing. The other thing is, if you're doing that consistently every 2 months, you're going to notice if something's out of place, right? Totally. If all of a sudden there's a new noise or the coil temp is a lot higher than it used to be, it might be reason to be concerned, or it might be nothing, but at least you can look into it and make sure before there's a failure.
And if you ever do have any questions, you can always DM us on social. You can call us at 1-800-DRY-THIS or send us an email. There's lots of ways to get a hold of us if you have any questions, regarding your maintenance.